Yes? Well, look who it is. You have made quite a stir, and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment. To what do I owe the honor, Harbinger? At the moment, obviously a great deal of nothing. Have the High Council to thank for that. Politics and expedience rarely pair well. Did he now? How magnanimous. But approval is approval, and I will gladly take it. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the scaled citadel. Until we can get through it, we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect grav drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way. Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and every one realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations. And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating. The Council just so happens to represent the 3 houses under Varun's banner, who are also entrusted with various aspects of running, well, everything. Each of those houses needs to contribute something to the project, so the Council is the final stopgap. Were the Speaker here, he could bypass all of it with a wave of his hand, but, well, you have already seen the state he's in. Indeed. All must serve. I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work. If you're here, the Council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process. I appreciate that someone around here is eager to get to work. House Fetal owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. House Kadik was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dulkef, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the Speaker, and for House Varun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. Yes, exactly. I am glad I am not the only one who can see that. Does nothing to make the loss any easier, but still. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage. Not enough to have prevented it from happening. If I had any idea it was going to turn out like this, It had been Inasco's primary goal for some time. A way to recreate Jinan Varun's encounter with the Great Serpent. Everything we knew about grav drive technology, every scientific advancement we'd made in the last 100 years was poured into it. Towards the end, I was just so exhausted. I asked for a brief time off. Had I not, I would be trapped in there with the rest of the science team. Yes, I am sure that is how some would see it. I left the project weeks before the disaster, and at that point, we were nowhere near ready. Some breakthroughs were made shortly thereafter, and they ran the experiment. And here we are. Just look around. I'm sure you have at least some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it. Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.
Do not agitate the locals. Many have already lost everything.
How's Cuddy?
The outsiders will come to accept his embrace, just as you did.
Did you get those reports written? impression we don't want to give.
Please, Jamal. Don't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder.
Ah, don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough. May the Great Serpent bless you. Your focus should be on Rasmus' needs and assisting House Kadi. All must serve.
So, Ekris has sent our newest harbinger to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry, Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction. House Kadik is one of the 3 noble houses under House Varun. We've a reputation on being the more moderate of the 3. Not as fervent as House Vithal, and not as passive as House Dolkev. We're also largely associated with the Ministry of Conjunction, since I lead the department. The Ministry of Conjunction is one of the 3 government branches of our society. We deal in information to ensure the High Council can make educated decisions. Most of our work is highly classified. Even the High Council itself may not be aware of all that we're involved in. Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised. But who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice? I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers, but the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage by zealots, and now they're demanding negotiations.
This is a major overreach. I have never known the zealots to be so bold.
As much as I'd welcome the expertise, the zealots would never allow an outsider to participate. But the negotiations aren't where I need assistance. The zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council or even the reinstatement of their house. House Malene. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands. House Malene was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother, Jarek, was chosen to take over as leader. They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the zealots you know today, to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work. Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's crusade, and to many in House Malene, was the best suited to take over for his father. They had a house. House Malene was abandoned a long time ago, but there are some who'd want to see it reinstated. Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action. And that's where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now. On my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming. Get the information any way you see fit. As long as no physical harm comes to them.
Understood.
What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting to stay one step ahead. The Zealots don't trust easily. If their location was discovered, Merrick would most likely be the first they'd suspect. They'd never trust them or any agent of House Kadik again. Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk. See that you do. You'll find Merrick upstairs in the meditation room.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here? Oh, so you're the heretic turned harbinger who thinks they're one of us now. So tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me? I'm sorry, did you say zealots? Why would I know anything about such extremists? Absolutely ridiculous. So much for confidentiality. I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Razma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here. Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me. I do have a natural talent. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less. Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know. Some days, it takes everything. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way. Not to mention the stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability. I was wondering when your own agenda would come into play. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rosma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me. You make a good point for an outsider. And perhaps I should take your presence here as a sign. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rosma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned. It better.
You must have gotten the location. Ah, yes, the old Varun military outpost. It's a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates. Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on grav drive manipulation. The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. But it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage. The Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others. The sooner the better.
We will do whatever is necessary to bring Sahima and the others back safely.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe. If memory serves, it's southeast of Shadow Station Epsilon. It shouldn't be too hard to find. I see you have a grasp on how these types of negotiations work. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.
Harbinger, a word before you go. Tell me, Harbinger, what do you know about the Zealots? I'm impressed. You've already learned quite a bit from your time with us. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots? I'm surprised she even mentioned that much. Razma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the Zealots, so the Council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of Zealots under her thumb for quite some time. This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Razma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
I would argue that what you describe would be considered treason. And rightly so.
Yes, I'll get to that momentarily. Exactly. House Kadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the Zealots, but the truth is far worse. Razma wants the Zealots to back House Kadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade. Razma would believe they want to reintegrate or even reestablish House Maleen, and she's a fool for it. The Zealots want nothing but the means to carry out their war. Credits, weapons, and ships. And these very supplies would be used to harm not only your people, but our own as well. The Council knows nothing of her work with the Zealots, and I aim to keep it that way. All elders have their own ambitions. I'm certain that's all they see. What none of us expected was the disaster that is the Scaled Citadel. The aftermath is what allowed the Zealots to grab Sahima and the others, flipping the balance of power in their favor. Razma has lost control and is putting House Kadik's reputation and power at risk. And that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Kadik shouldn't be associating with Zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind. We need to cut ties with the Zealots altogether. How astute. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Kadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it clear. Should the hostages not survive, Razma would blame the Zealots and cut all ties.
House Kadik would go to any lengths, it seems.
Those few lives will be nothing compared to the lives the Zealots will take if House Kadik continues to supply them. Sacrificing them would open my sister's eyes, quelling any sympathy and desire to work with the Zealots. Once Razma no longer sees the Zealots as an ally, the rest will soon follow. What we need is Sahima's research, which she has with her. You just need to bring it back. I see I misjudged you. How unfortunate for us all. Well, should you change your mind, the offer still stands. And Harbinger, this conversation stays between us.
I wonder what your presence here means.
One less target.
ammunition is always welcome if they have any.
Smell the stench of your heresy. Ah, the heat. But in time they'll pay.
Who are you? Serpent's Grace, I knew it! I knew she wouldn't just leave us here to rot. It's more than just me. There are others. The Zealots have been using them to force me to continue my research here. They think I have all the answers since the original experiment was a catastrophic failure.
The Zealots were wise in their tactics. Up until now.
The original experiment. The one that took out half of Dazra and sealed off the Scaled Citadel. Surely you must know. I'm sorry. I realize the elders and council members may not be properly disseminating this information. I'm not one for politics, obviously. Well, the Zealots think they are forcing me to continue my research here. They want me to apply my theories to Anasco's Scaled Citadel debacle. Somehow they ascertained my previous involvement. So my theory is correct. Or I should say, the High Council now believes my theory, the better theory, is correct. I knew it! I told them their algorithms and insufficient testing were only giving the illusion of stability. But no one wants to listen to me. Not the girl who put people twice my age to shame when it came to assessments. Of course, this is what it would take for Razma to send someone after me. Negotiations? Oh, right. I'd almost forgotten. I overheard the Zealots mention negotiating with House Kadik, so the motivations are clear. Not only does the High Council deem me important, but Razma needs to remove me from the equation. I get it. But at least now everyone knows I was right. All right. First, we need to free the other hostages. The Zealots aren't aware of how I've been delving into their systems here. I told them I needed full access if they expect me to replicate Anasco's experiment, and I didn't even bother with risk assessment. They think I'm applying my theories to their poor excuse for technology down here. Granted, I could probably make it work if I had to. Right. Focus. The other hostages are being kept just beyond this room. I can disengage the locks to their cell and grant you access to an elevator in the room beyond that will take them to safety. You just have to clear out that area first, and the Zealots down there are... different. The Zealots you'll encounter beyond here are... altered somehow. To be made thus would be to show them the Great Serpent's mercy. Some may, but keep in mind that we are scientists. Many of them have never seen true combat and are no longer proficient with weapons. But some, like me, may still be capable. Just don't expect much of them. I fear you may have no choice here. Just be careful. Usual tactics are unlikely to work against them. While you get the rescue underway, I'm going to set up certain guarantees here. I'll meet you and the others outside. I'm more than capable of handling myself. Besides, the Zealots think they need me, so my life isn't in danger. If I'm not out there when you free the hostages, just come back for me. And a well-thought-out one at that. I just need enough time to set up a remote device so I can launch a virus that will render this place useless. Think of it as a failsafe to guarantee our safety. The Zealots would never risk this base or their ships. Good. I'll see you outside.
Merciful. Has help finally arrived?
Profit is never necessarily the aim. It's something I think.
Who are you?
Are you here
You aren't a zealot.
for us?
Who are you? The Great Serpent is merciful. And Tahima? Did you find her yet? We haven't been able to observe much. They are physically superior, stronger, faster. They ignore pain and are resistant to things that would take any normal person down in an instant. I'm not sure what the Zealots have done to create them, but I would surmise the process was less than pleasant. If only there were more of us down in the caves. I wish it were that easy. The Zealots separated us. Our brethren are still out there. Please, I can ready my people here, but you'll have to deal with the Zealots and rescue the others so we may all escape safely. Another Redeemed is stationed down there, along with a few other Zealots and a Model S. Be careful. We'll be ready.
I heard something.
Great serpent himself must have said.
Great serpent, protect me. The great serpent has hurt me. Thank you.
Not everything in the galaxy needs to come with us, you know. I am more than willing to help you carry anything that has use, or is of considerable value.
Serpent, save me. Thank the serpent. I thought I was done for.
You did it. You got everyone out. You did it! It's true what they say. The air really does smell fresher.
Serpent bless you. We owe you our lives. Thank you.
Now, it's time for you to head back. I'm going to stay back a moment and make sure everyone here is okay to make it back safely. I'll catch up with you shortly. Just let me know where the negotiations are taking place. Don't worry. Razma came through for me. It's only fair I return the favor. I'll be there when it counts. Now go.
These members of your house have suffered. I can respect your decision.
By the Serpent, you did it.
Is your intent to be unreasonable the whole time? I thought this was a negotiation.
We're having a friendly chat, aren't we? It's not my fault you don't find my offers acceptable.
Nah, just the person I wanted to see. Please tell me you bring good news. Exactly what I wanted to hear.
Razma, who is this? You allow any commoner to just waltz in on official business. I'd expect better security from House Kadik.
This is hardly official business.
Yes, and now these so-called negotiations are over.
Over? You'd risk everything after the whispers of a stranger. I demand to know who this is. You think I care about Anasco Varun, son of a traitor? Only a complete fool would expect me to believe this.
It's true, Mihail. And if you don't leave now, peacefully, I'll make sure your ships and Shadow Station Epsilon are made dust.
You... How did you... You're bluffing.
Test me. You think a genius mind like mine wouldn't find a way to hack into every system in your base? This remote device will launch a virus that will detonate systems within Epsilon, and reach your ships as well.
You realize how this may affect future partnerships, Razma. You'd jeopardize our connections.
It jeopardizes nothing. It merely restores the natural order.
The natural order. I could take you all out here and now. You know every one of us is prepared to answer the Serpent's call.
You're so willing to sacrifice your allies at Shadow Station Epsilon?
You don't think they're as prepared as we are? We all answer the call, and if that day is today, so be it. No, but it's the death they know is possible. Besides, you think I'd turn my back on the insults thrown here today?
You mean, do we think you'd throw away your life and the lives of everyone at Shadow Station Epsilon over your pride, Mihail? No, I for one don't think you will. And you can't deny our partnerships have been beneficial for us both.
As much as our people may disagree, Jandar would see you sacrifice your life in direct service to the Great Serpent. Both would have you die, cleansing the accursed, and turning those who may listen to his shadow. You know this to be true, Mihail. A true promised lives only to serve. And your death today would serve nothing.
Blessed sister, you speak truth. I have been blinded by pride, but your words have guided me back to the path. All right. I won't deny my brethren the death they deserve. But I won't forget this either. Don't think this won't change anything, Razma.
Things have already changed, Mihail. From the moment you kidnapped House members. These negotiations are over. Now leave us.
That was intense.
Good to see you.
House Kadik is in your debt.
As am I. I owe you my life.
Sahima, you are a part of this house.
I know. I just wanted to say thank you. Personally. And here, it's the research and algorithm the High Council wants. I'm sure they'll appreciate it more coming from you. Oh, I am. Very. I just don't think the High Council is ready for the series of I told you so's that I would surely inundate them with. Plus, I think I'll wait until after they've proven out my theories to approach them on that topic. I'm going to head back home now to check on the others, but maybe come find me later? Great. You can find me at the Great House whenever you get the chance.
We'll talk later, Sahima. As I was saying, House Kadik is in your debt. You've helped me maintain a very precarious balance. As for what you've learned here in regards to the Zealots, I'd appreciate it if you kept this a secret. If you're referring to the members of House Kadik, the others involved know better than to speak of this. You seem to be understanding our society quite well. Now, I have much to do, and so do you. Ekris and the High Council will be expecting you.
You do not understand. I saw Anasco, took measure of his burdens.
What you are describing is a dream, nothing more.
Not a dream. A message from the Great Serpent himself.
With all due respect to your craft, dear sister, now is not the time for incense and ash leaves. Or do you not see the depth of the crater before you?
On the contrary, brother. I see it for what it truly is. And if we ignore this vision, Anasco will be lost to us forever.
Enough with the proselytizing. The Harbinger has returned. Ah, were you able to find Sahima? Perfect. I have no doubt Sahima's work is the key to stabilizing the morning device. If only the others had listened to her, we may not have lost so much of our great city. This leaves houses Dul Kef and Fathol.
Politics can wait. Every moment we delay, Anasco descends further into the void.
For the last time, faith will not remove the barrier. Science will.
It is the hubris of science that failed you in this moment. We reached out to the Great Serpent. This is his reply.
You claim he has forsaken us?
I do no such thing. The Great Serpent's reply is not an answer, but a question. Are we worthy of his grace? Until that is proven, your works will not succeed.
It sounds like you agree with me.
And yet, only one is the foundation for the other. But the proof is not in our words. It is in the vision. Anasco's presence still persists in this world, and he seeks our aid.
Fine. I feel like I've lived this argument 1,000 times, and the only way to move past it is to concede to its nonsense. Harbinger, speak to my sister. Agree to her fool's errand so that we may continue the work of saving this city.
The Great